Hey, how you doing? This is King Kevin Dorival. I'm here playing the Jirpada. I hope I'm saying it right. It's an African instrument built in Kenya. I bought it from Mr. Osborne here in Little Haiti. He travels around the world and he has a lot of very beautiful instruments from the motherland. Now, by the way, this video is about why America needs black on black crime, which is very interesting, and I hope you all find it interesting as well. Number one, the prison industrialization complex. The prison industrialization complex is the big business, you know, the big business of locking people up. In 2013 and 14, they made over $4.6 billion, the private sector and also in the federal. Now, with the federal, the numbers are, I'm not too for sure about the federal numbers, but the private, like if you're a billionaire or multi-millionaire, you want to invest in prisons and open up your own prison, trust me, you have opportunity to do so. As a matter of fact, Michael Jordan has done so. Wells Fargo has done so. And so the massive incarceration of people, of mainly black men and women, is filling up the prisons. Right now, as I speak, in 2017, May 22nd, 2017, there are over 1 million black men in prison. 39% of the prison population are black males, 39%. And there's over 2 million people in prison. Nearly over 1 million. Do you remember back when they used to have slavery? It was only like 400 years ago, you know. That was, you know, legal to them, just like the prison industrialization complex is legal today. The southern states, they refused to let go of slavery because the culture of slavery, the culture of dehumanizing people. And by the way, we lost about 600 million Africans due to the Atlantic slave trade. If you guys didn't know that. 600 million. But they're always talking about the Jewish Holocaust, which they probably, what it was, maybe 3 to 5 million people were killed, which is unfortunate. You know, I don't condone any kind of murders. And I'm not here saying, oh, the massive killing and genocide of the Jewish should be taken light. I definitely ain't saying that the genocidal rate of murder of black people is okay either. But if you compare and contrast those numbers, why aren't we taught that in school? You have to think about it, because that goes into number two, the reason why America needs black on black crime. Now, before I get to number two, let's go back, rewind a little bit to number one. In the Democratic Congo, and I talked about this in my other video, black on black criminals working for white racists. Check out the videos, it's on my channel, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on social media and all that good stuff. My website should be popping up at the bottom of the screen or in the description. In the Democratic Congo, well, that's what it's called now, but in the Congo, there was a king called, a European king who exploited the land and killed nearly 20 million Africans by himself. Some numbers say as high as the 25 to 30 million Africans. The whole country, I believe it's, how big is it, 200 million square miles of land. He treated it as his backyard, did whatever he wanted to do, you know. Those of you who have a backyard or been in the backyard, people do whatever they want back there. Some people, you know, they do backflips, swimming pool, barbecue, light up fires, whatever you want to do, hide your junk. This man treated this as his personal backyard to rob the country of its rubber, rob the country of its diamonds, its gold, the ivory tusks. Millions of elephants were slaughtered for their tusks. And when they kill an elephant, you don't just kill an elephant by, you know, just, well, there's many ways to kill an elephant, I assume. But to remove the tusk, as a matter of fact, I want to show you something. And I can't believe I never thought about this. You see this elephant? This is like a royal elephant. You see how the ivory is right here? To remove the tusk of this elephant, you have to literally chop off the eyes and to the mouth to pull it out. So literally you have millions of elephants slaughtered. As a matter of fact, to this day, in their genes of the elephants, they don't trust people there in the Congo. So they attack anybody or even cars that come near them because they're still traumatized, you know, through what happened to their ancestors, what happened to their great-great-great-grandparents in Africa as elephants, which is very interesting because we still suffer from the slave traumatic syndrome right now. You know, whether, I don't care where you at, in America, Haiti, the Congo, Benin, Dahomey, Zaire, wherever. So it's interesting that these elephants did not forget their history, and they can't. I just wanted to throw that out there. But King Leopold, I like to call him King Leotold, he had complete authority of this country. I mean, they couldn't do anything. The world powers couldn't do anything. It wasn't until there was this black writer who came there to the Congo to visit on a missionary trip. I can't recall his name, but I'll have his name in the description. It wasn't until what he saw. He thought he was going there to see, you know, Africans, you know, thriving and doing good business and this luxurious area of greenery, of nice people, different tribes, beautiful fruits, rare trees and animals. And he come and see little kids getting their hands chopped off. You know, little kids, women, little kids. The men were actually, they were kidnapped. The men were kidnapped and the wives were kidnapped. So the husbands were separated from the wives, and the husbands were forced to go seek the rubber or the elephants. And if they didn't bring enough rubber to meet their quota, which I believe was maybe a pound a day or 2 pounds a day, because the rubber is actually a sap. You ever cut a tree and see the little white sap come out? Well, these particular trees, it was the sap came out these vines. You see, okay, perfect example, Tarzan. You see how Tarzan was swinging all those vines? Now he was in the Congo. Now I'll get to that subject a whole nother time, but if you watch the new Tarzan that came out, maybe I think 2014, 2015, they really went to the history of why, what's really going on in the Congo. So I applaud the people who made the movie Tarzan. I think it really touched into a lot of the history of what happened. They kind of sugarcoated a little bit. They kind of whitewashed it a little bit. But the history, if you understood what was going on at the time, you have an appreciation for that movie. Now, King Leopold was able to get away with the slaughter of 20 plus million Africans up until, I believe it was 1908. So he was doing it from the late 1800s to about 1905, 1908, because the world powers, there's just too much pressure. Matter of fact, Mark Twain, I have his book somewhere here in one of my bookcases, also wrote about it. You know what I'm saying? Red Rubber, what's it called? No, Red Rubber, Black Death. Now let's get to number 2. Now, we've never been told about King Leopold, but we're told about Hitler. Matter of fact, we are forced to learn about Hitler in the Jewish Holocaust. And we completely, you know what I'm saying, are oblivious to what happened in the Congo. So think about it. Hitler killed about 5 million people. King Leopold killed 20 plus million people. The only difference is, well, there's 2 of them. One is the black population. What's the black life worth, right? Black lives matter. And you have the Jewish, which are European people. And their lives are given more value. They give it more value. And we, which is number 2, we inculcate their values. Black men slinging drugs, doing whatever, robbing, doing whatever it takes to get the money, killing, scams, and black women as well. But we are seeking that American dream, that value system of the American dream, which is, you know what I'm saying, it's ridiculous. Why are we seeking validation, you know what I'm saying, of the Europeans when we have our own cultures? See, my people, we from West Africa. People ask me where I'm from, I tell them I'm African. You know, out there in Benin, that's Dahomey, West Africa. my mother and father were born and raised in Haiti. But I always loved my Haitian culture. As a matter of fact, I hope you can see the flag right there. And I'm not saying that, I'm not proud to be Haitian, but I understand that by embracing the European culture and value system, in a sense, I'm turning my back on my African and Haitian culture. All black people, we're Africans to some degree. You know what I'm saying? Even if we wasn't born there, ever even been there. As a matter of fact, I would be in Africa. I would have been in Africa next month in June had it not been for our 4th annual Black on Black Crime Solutions panel. Which, ladies and gentlemen, what you see behind me here, this is the 1st annual Black on Black Crime Solutions panel, the 2nd, and the 3rd. Now, all 3 of these are very special to me. We put a lot of energy. My organization is called, my nonprofit organization that I founded is called Courage to Believe International. As a matter of fact, this is the flyer. This is the flyer to our Black on Black Crime Solutions panel for this year. As a matter of fact, going on next month, June 10th. So that's why I'm not going to Ghana. And going to Ghana is a dream come true, but I'm investing my time and energy in helping and saving my people. As a matter of fact, I'm just grabbing something right quick. The value system. We're judging ourselves. We're judging our brothers and sisters based on their values, the European value system. They're playing chess. These are chess pieces here. This is a bishop and a knight. They're playing chess while we're playing checkers. Partying, spending all our money, drinking ourselves to oblivion, and while our people are getting slaughtered by the thousands. Do you know how many black people get killed every year by other black people? And I do understand that there is white on white crime. I do know that. I know there's white on black crime dealing with police brutality. But would you believe me if I told you this? Ever since 1980, to this day, May 22nd, 2017, there's been 6,000 to 9,000 black men and women and children getting killed by other black men and women. Majority by black men. And if you're curious about white on white crime, 84% white people kill each other 84% of the times when there's like a murder. 84% of the times a white male killing another white male. Black males, 93% of the time. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. Almost an increase by 10%. 6,000 to 9,000. Can you imagine that? Since 1980 to 2015, there were nearly 300,000 black deaths going on. And I'm going to throw some dates out there, but I just want you guys to see how I'm going to connect everything together. Now, from 1870 to 1950, Malcolm X was born in 1925, and he died in, I believe, 1963. But Malcolm X, during the time of his birth, the time when he was alive, he was around all the lynchings, and from 1870 to 1950, there were 3,959 deaths taking place. That's a whole lot. 3,959,000 people getting killed, lynched in the southern, just in the southern states. I don't know what was going on in New York. I'm not sure what was going on in Connecticut and these other northern states. There was racism there now. It just wasn't as blatant. It just wasn't as blatant as the South was. So you're talking about in 1870, I think his name is Lee Douglas, Frederick Douglass' son. He had a son that wrote a book, a journal, and said that at the time there were 120 black people, women, men, and children being hanged and lynched every day. 120. And we're doing that damn near about the same amount in 2017. Why is that? Because we inculcated the white value system. We aren't valuing black lives. Black lives matter only when a white person kills a black person. Let's just be frank with it. That's true. When a brother kills another brother, oh well, that's another brother gone. And maybe the family of the victim, of course they're going to be sad. Maybe the family of the victimizer will be sad for the victims, but you have two families impacted, and the victimizer who gets caught goes to prison if he gets caught. And then we have the no snitching policy in the black community, which I can understand because no one trusts cops. But if we're going to turn things around, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to seek different values and desires. You see, the black on black criminal internalizes his racist white ancestors' spirit. We are doing the jobs of our racist white ancestors. I'm talking about black on black criminals. I know my ancestors ain't white. You know what I'm saying? Black power to the fullest, baby. You feel me? Black on black love, straight up. Now, by them internalizing the spirit of these racist slave masters, they're doing the jobs that they can no longer do. So it keeps white supremacy in power. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. And I understand there's people who don't like the term black on black crime. Call it what you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen. Sugarcoat it how you want it. The fact still remains we are slaughtering each other at an alarming rate, a genocidal rate. I understand the history before me. Malcolm X, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Martin Luther King, Queen Nzinga. I understand the history before me because these people, Queen Nzinga, she lived to the end of her days, and she fought 30 years against the Portuguese. Queen Nzinga is from the southern region, actually southern part of the Congo, and this queen fought 30 years against the Portuguese. Because the Portuguese sent a lot of, matter of fact, the #1 black population outside of Africa is in Brazil. Because they sent so many Africans to Brazil. And even there in Brazil, there's a lot of racism going on. And killing and lynching and just, confusion about their culture. We have to change that. We have to learn how to embrace our own culture by researching and reading. Number 3, I know it took me a long time to get there, but young black males from 16 to 24, the #1 cause of death is murder. It's the gun violence, the killing, the slaughtering. The #1 reason is murder. That's population control. That's also the lack of leadership in our communities. We have a bastardized community. Many, if not most, in all, well, I can't say all, but up to 70%. I heard of statistics from 70% of black homes are run by single mothers. A black woman can't do all that. I know black women are the strongest women on earth and some of the most beautiful women on earth. And finest as well, all my black queens out there. But the fact remains that you can't do all that by yourself. A man has to step into the picture to balance out the energy in the homes. That's why you have so much homosexuality, in the black community. That's why you have so many robberies and killings and violations of our young children, our young girls, getting taken advantage of by older men who, some young teenager females may have developed a lot more than the other females. Okay, even I see some teenager females like, wow, that's an attractive young lady. But I'm not going to stare at her because I understand and know she's a teenager. It's okay to have a compliment in your mind, but men, we got to be disciplined to look away. I'm reading a book right now called Black Girls Lost by David Goins. And Goins is one of the most prolific writers from back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, he wrote a series of books, and he was one of the first famous black authors to sell millions of copies of books.
You know what I mean? But his stories in the books, and he explains the black experience, you know what I mean, it's such great detail. It almost makes you either shiver or scared, because that's the black experience. Yes, we have a lot of bad experiences in the black community, especially in the ghettos and the hoods, but there's a lot of good going on. And we need to support what's good. We need to support our black community. We need to support our programs. We need to encourage those leaders in our communities, those black queens and kings who are doing those nonprofit organizations. And even if they don't have a 501c3, we need to find ways to get them support, encourage them to keep going, because you know what? There's not enough of it going on. There's definitely not enough support. I'm currently right now in Fort Lauderdale. I'm in Miami a lot. That's like a second home. A lot of my family in Miami. So I know of many mentoring organizations here at Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade County. Some of them get big grants, but most of them don't. So when they have a GoFundMe, I have a GoFundMe as well, an ongoing fundraiser. We do a fundraiser every year for the Black on Black Crime Solutions panel. Every year. And we barely get support. I thank you. I thank you personally on behalf of the board members and our organization, for everyone who donated to our GoFundMe, who goes to our events the past 4 years. Actually, next month will be our 4th annual Black on Black Crime Solutions panel. It's going to be at Miami-Dade College, June 10th. More information on the link below. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we got to do better. We can't keep being reactionary people. That's why we also started a chess club. Somebody on Facebook, I posted this morning about on my Instagram, which goes to my Facebook and Twitter, which is @Courage2Believe. You know, why you and no one ever talks about white on white crime. Me personally, I can care less about white on white crime. My interests, my investments, my energy is going towards solving black on black crime. We have to be proactive people. Only way you can be proactive is through power. The only reason why white supremacy impacts our life, because we give it the power to do so. Instead of giving our community power, we giving the white community power. As a matter of fact, we subsidize keeping the white children out of prison, but we subsidize our children to go to prison by not supporting our leaders and young thinkers. People invest in their youth. They invest not just in school, looking fresh with clothes. And I understand the black community, we so excited about football season and cheerleading and basketball. So excited about that. But when it comes to intellectual things, using our 200 billion brain cells, that we need to focus our energy, which goes into number 3, reason why black on black crime must continue in America. By us focusing on sports and not things that builds us up intellectually, like learning how to play music, playing chess, or a creative writer, writing, things, creative expression. We need to back off on sports just a little bit and invest more in intellectual things. The main reason why I started writing, which now I'm a writer now, but why I started reading, why I began reading constantly, is because my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. White, and I thank her for that, she was telling me, told us, that if you ever want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book. That's what they think of us. And she told us that. You know, and then when she said us, I knew she was talking about black students, black people. I took that personal. So ever since then, and listened to her instructions, I played classical music, and I began reading a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I have a fear of failure. And I always believed that reading would keep me from failing, from becoming poor. Somehow, some way, we need to make it cool to read again. We must do that. If we don't make it cool again to read, then we're in big trouble. Number 4, energy. Misguided energy. If we don't focus our energy on things that will be for the betterment of the community, then we will fall in the community. We can sit here and say black power, black on black love, black people on the rise all day. But if we don't put energy in the black initiative, then we will misdirect our energy into all kinds of frivolous things. And that's what's going on right now. White supremacy, imperialism is what we're seeing today, has been very successful in keeping us divided, keep our energy divided, and conquering us within that division. An ancient old warrior trick. Divide your enemy and you will conquer them, whether on the battlefield or in society. So we definitely need to put more of our energy, our 200 billion plus brain cells. Each brain cell could be measured. That's why they say what you think is what you speak, and what you speak becomes your world, because you're speaking into the universe. And I'm not just talking on a metaphysical perspective here. You know, people who are, let's say, Christians or Buddhists, whatever you want to call it, you know, there's speaking into existence, and that's what's happening. When you're constantly in poverty, when you're constantly thinking about your bills, or constantly thinking about the symptoms and not the problem, the violence, the pregnancies, the diseases such as AIDS, gonorrhea, the unemployment, those are all symptoms. The housing issues, police brutality, those are all just symptoms. Not to make light of any of those things, but the true problem is an economic reason. The finances, ladies and gentlemen. You go to New York, you find Chinatown, or even in California. There's certain cities that have a Koreatown. There's even Jewish communities, all these different communities, keeping their money circulated within themselves. Without circulation of money, finances, and support, and love, ladies and gentlemen, your community actually is in a recession. The black community right now is in a recession. And we need to get out of that. How do we change things? How do we stop acting in the death culture of white society, of the white devils? And I say white devils, you talk about people like Stalin. You talk about people like definitely King Leopold or King Leopold, Hitler, Bush, Donald Trump. I can't say Donald Trump really. I know a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. I'm a big fan of his. But these white devils, and there's many more, but these white devils will always have the upper hand until we put our energy in supporting and uplifting each other. Unity, there's power in unity. And by the way, it is possible. Now I'm going to go over a few ways of how we can solve these issues. And in conclusion of this video, we need to enhance our cultural identity, self-reliance. Teach about Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Teach them about Booker T. Washington and Harriet Tubman, Queen Nzinga. Read about these individuals, not just watch videos and post on social media, which is cool. And by the way, the young man who said, why do you talk about white on white crime, and we are talking about black on black crime, and why don't we invest in our community? He obviously didn't click on a link not our website link, but couragetobelieve.com, or the GoFundMe link to see that we have a chess program, C2B Chess Club Mentoring Program. So we are investing in our community, my brother. What we need is our community to invest in us. I don't care what city you're in. There's a community program where you can volunteer, you can donate, you can support, you can encourage. Give them some drinks or some fruits or something. Give them a helping hand. Find a black organization, give them a helping hand. Another one, job training. We need job training and skills that we can work with our hands. You know, the post-industrialization era took away a lot of jobs from places like Chicago, Detroit, which is the motor city. You look at Detroit now, and I have a friend up there, or a couple of friends in Detroit. It's not looking too good because all those jobs, factories shut down. Some parts are like a ghost town. And it used to be one of the biggest booming cities in the country. And the reason why Chicago, Detroit, and many other cities, Indiana, are filled with black people because they were escaping the lynchings of the South. So they went up north into the Midwest and out west. That's how the black populations came to be. As a matter of fact, Chicago was founded by a black person. A black man, Haitian man, as a matter of fact, DeSable, which started a fur coat business, you know, selling coats. I mean, so we're ingenious people, job training, you know. Maybe we can make coats now. We can learn from history. History gives you 1,000 answers to 1,000 questions and 1,000 problems. If you do not understand the issues of the past, we are doomed to repeat those same mistakes over again. What remains the same will never change. That's simple life. Another way, we need to create antidotes to media manipulation, which is through television, social media, the internet, YouTube. There's all kinds of signals, magazines. There's all kinds of billboards, all kinds of signals they're throwing at us. Because the brain picks up signals and symbols that our eyes may not catch it, but our brain subconsciously picks it up. It picks it up like antennas. We may not see these symbols they put out there, different numbers. Different numbers trigger different parts of the brain, different colors. Sigmund Freud knew that. As a matter of fact, the United States government funded a big research project he was doing with his nephew to find out ways to manipulate the masses. There's some sort of institute he started. They changed the name so you don't know. And I will supply that in one of these other videos. I want to talk about Sigmund Freud and psychologists like him. But we need to definitely create ways and teach our children how to avoid brain manipulation. Another way, early childhood programs. We need early childhood programs. We need early childhood programs that would